are checking in on things that matter. So today I'm super excited. Oh my gosh, because
First
our
ever!
guest is no other than Mr. Oriel. He's someone that I look up to so much because he's the brightest, most colorful rainbow ever. He's Filipino American. He's a wonderful husband to his partner. And he's very active in church. And we just love him so much because he has a very good, pure heart. So without further ado, here's Mr. Oriel. Welcome.
Welcome!
Happy Pride,
Hi!
sis.
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride!
Hi!
Mabuhay!
Mabuhay! Thank you to you. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Angel, for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm
So
so
first
excited. I'm
question.
very excited.
So first question. Ano, tell us about who Oriel is. Yan.
Oriel is what do you call this? Larger than life and very outgoing. I don't care what other people will say. I will wear what I wanted to wear. Of course, if I go to the public, I have to ask my husband first on if you know,
It's
like
too
I will
much.
ask, yeah, if it's too much. But as much as possible, like I don't care what other people say. I have like I love everyone. I love cooking. I love swimming, and um that's basically it. I'm very,
That's
very,
amazing.
yeah, I'm
So do
very,
you
very
identify as
crazy
gay?
person.
Do you identify as
Yes,
gay? Yeah.
yes, I
And then,
identify
so
as a
you
gay
said
man.
you also dress fabulously. So would you say you're dressing in drag?
I do, and sometimes like it's kind of my form of activism on um I'm breaking down toxic masculinity.
Hmm.
That game, we have this culture that men cannot wear skirt. We
Mm-hmm.
have this like we grew up that you cannot wear skirt, you cannot wear makeup, like if you were gay. I grew up like that. My understanding of being gay when I grew up is like those who are working in the parlor or with the long
Yeah.
hair and
Yeah,
But
that's
in the
like
everything.
the
Philippines, it's
typical
kind of like
Filipino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Those are the things that we understand being gay.
not
And
that there's
you
anything wrong with that job,
Yeah,
but
not that
yeah,
there's
but
anything
it's
it
just
wrong
just
with
kind of
that.
there.
like the
It's
hard
fine.
thing out in the Philippines. It's in a big umbrella that bakla is the trans also and the
Also,
gay and the so parang they put us in one box.
Yeah, they
yeah,
put us in
and
war. What
yeah,
like? Mhm.
exactly,
And I
exactly. And
think the
growing,
bad part about it is they would assume that you're the same as the other person just because you're on that same box that they identified
yes,
you as.
exactly, exactly. And like i- in the gay community, there's a battle between being so masculine in order for you to pass,
Mm-hmm.
in order to be accepted that much, and then the feminine gay are somehow ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to break that toxic masculinity within the gay culture.
Wow,
And somehow that's, yeah,
that's
And I'm
and that's
interesting for
so
me
why.
to
proud of you
hear.
with that. I mean, like,
Mhm.
I've seen every Pride. I'm sorry, you have the best outfit. The best outfit, but not just the best outfit, the best attitude with the outfit.
uh, of
That's
course,
Winner,
of course,
sis.
of course, of
it's super
course.
interesting for me to hear that you also like say use the word passing because I
Yeah.
hear that a lot in the trans community that for us kind of like passing as let's say for me passing as a woman is very important. Sometimes you get that passing privilege and so
Yes.
are you saying also like that in terms of the gay, so I'm just like clarifying I guess what you mentioned that in the gay community if you pass as a straight male that's like
Y-
kind of like what the privileges you also get privileges versus if you're a femme or like expressing yourself like
Yeah,
gender.
yeah. In right now, the what do you call this? Like the ambience or the view of the gay community, most of it, or like what I observe, if you are more masculine, you are you are you are you pass on the look of the society,
Yeah.
and
Like the
somehow,
standard that your
yeah, and the
society is like
standard,
expecting you.
yeah, and the standard of how the society will look you and look up to you, will respect you because you
I think
are.
especially in the Philippines, ganyan, di ba? Or
Yes,
like,
yes,
oh, at
and
least he looks respectable. At least he's like that. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and somehow you become more attractive because you you act straight, you act masculine, and somehow it's like in terms of getting some friends, uh and of course in social media, you if you act more straight and masculine, somehow people will respect you more, something like that, you
yeah.
know.
But we've seen how amazing you are and that you've met your wonderful husband because you're just naturally who you are. So, in a way,
Yeah.
can you give us a glimpse of that?
Of
Of like
love
your love
win. Oh my
story?
God, love
Because
Of
you know what
win.
course.
it's about. You know what? Because you inspire us. Because you know what? Like, you have this voice and you're so true to yourself and you found true love. So many people are like doing this like so-called society standard, but they
True.
don't have what you have, which is like a wonderful, loving relationship just because you were true to yourself. So what advice can you give to
I
to you know to LGBTQ out there about being true to themselves, because obviously you have been very true and you've been successful both in your career and your love life.
exactly just like what you said. I think that's very, very important in in the queer community, the LGBT communities, being true to yourself, like, and you're being authentic inside and outside. The way you see yourself, the way you embrace all your flaws, like regard disregard all um your flaws, whether you're not good looking or whatever. You always have to be confident to yourself, and you have to embrace who you really are. I think that's the main factor there, and I think that's what my husband fall in love with me, because
Mhm.
I don't
Oh,
have I don't have this um pretensions. I don't pretend that I have to be this person. I don't
Can you
pretend that.
share those moments, like maybe the first time you're meeting, to a little bit fast forward with kind of like how you propose, what your views on marriages are, like how it changed, your family in the Philippines, and kind of
well well this is like
we only have
somehow
15
this
minutes,
is
so it's
yeah,
like not
this is
like
the fantasy of most of the gay person, I think, in the Philippines. We basically um we basically met in Facebook, online.
oh,
Yes, we basically met in Facebook through MCC, because we were both MCC leaders, and somehow we have the same advocacy in life. um i do I do LGBT advocacy. I also do marathons, barefoot, by the way. I do marathons
oh my
barefoot.
god.
And
oh my God.
yeah, yeah, I represent, oh, sorry, nahulog. And I represent people living with HIV in the Philippines. and
Wow.
and yeah, and we have both advocacy in life, and we met, I think, in Manila 6 years ago. And it's very crazy. it's
Love at
it's really
first sight.
crazy. It's kind of love at it's kind of love at first sight. And after that, we I just have I actually, when we first met, I have a lot of hesitations, but I said to myself, I just have to be true to my feelings. Like somehow I know he likes me, but because I'm in the Philippines, I don't know if he, like, if the relationship will continue, you
Yes,
know.
kasi maraming mga ahas. Chas!
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But after we met,
I
after
think
we met
that's
in
part of like because you were true to your feelings. Now you're
yeah,
not, you didn't like pretend that everything is perfect right away. So I think
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
that
Basically,
helps.
Yeah.
you came as you are. which
Yeah,
is
and
so
and
beautiful.
and I didn't pretend to bring him to. I didn't pretend to brought him to fancy places in Manila when we first met.
Yeah.
The first time we the first time we see each other, like I will like you will experience all the public transportation in the Philippines. We will not try taxi.
Wow.
We
Like
will
Wow.
jeepney? Like
yeah,
jeepney agad?
jeepney, bus, MRT,
Tricycle?
and tricycle. And it's like I told him it's like I will show you the real beauty of Manila. We basically go to Divisoria.
Oh my goodness. And that was the time before the cleanup.
Yeah, it is. It
Did
is.
he
It
haggle? Did he
that was when
haggle?
that was 2014, and I told him like, don't worry, I'm with you, and I will protect you.
Ah,
Did you teach him how to
so
haggle? Like tawad?
beautiful.
Yes, yes. We went to those stores. Like I bought some shirts like and souvenirs for him, and told us like, this is how you handle. This is how you handle the
Was
price.
he able to do it? Because
So
he's
he was like,
white. So in the Philippines, like they see dollars right away.
everybody's like looking. Everybody's looking to us, and we were, and and it's crazy because the whole time we were in Divisoria and walking in Manila, we're holding hands. And
That's
so,
Wow.
amazing.
yeah,
Talk
we're
about being
holding
proud.
we're holding hands, and people are like
Pride.
literally looking at us, and you will see, oh, what do you call this? Um, isa na namang kababayan ang umangat sa kahirapan.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes, and I will just like, and I will just look. I like I heard it a lot
you just
while we were walking. Manila. I just like look at them. I was like, sorry, sis. I was like
haba ng hair
sorry.
mo.
Yeah, sorry, sis. I was like that. But
so I'm
yeah,
so amazed that both of you met at church.
yes.
So tell me how it is that both of you have God in the center of your relationship, and and because the first time I met you, that's the great thing that I love about it was I met you at the church with your husband, and I think that's beautiful because a lot of couples now they don't even go to church together. Like one has a good faith, one doesn't believe in something. But the beautiful
Exactly.
thing about you both is that you share the same faith. So how is
Yeah.
that for you? How does your faith work for your relationship?
I think it's really good that our what do you call this our our main church is MCC. That's basically we originally met through MCC, and our
MCC
faith
is Metropolitan.
Metropolitan Community Church.
Okay.
He's in Metropolitan Community Church in LA, which is our funding church, and I'm in MCC Quezon City in the Philippines. And we shared the same belief. We share that same belief that God loves everyone, including LGBTQ, all the minorities, and not just not just those they believe, or those who truly who truly have faith in God and whatever is written in the Bible. And somehow um we in MCC I experienced acceptance
Yeah.
because like growing up Catholic, it's very different. Though
Yeah.
what they call this
Tolerate.
Catholic tolerate it, but they didn't accept LGBTQ. And I found MCC where I'm really doubting with my faith. I'm really doubting of how will I live. And MCC nurture me. MCC nurture my whole spiritual life and faith.
Yeah.
So
And
speaking of you having this great faith or having a strong faith and being gay at the same time, what can you advise? Because a lot of us Filipinos are very religious. So what can you
mhm,
advise those people who are in the same position as us, but still not very secure if they're lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, but has a strong faith in the Lord? So how can they balance that? What can you advise them?
I think balancing your faith and balancing your sexuality is very very important. Um, it always depends on how you grow up and how you believe God loves you. If you
After all,
always
God is
if
love.
yeah, if you always base your life in the Bible, and whatever the other people will tell you, regardless of what's written in the Bible and the way you interpret it, that will make the difference. That will
Um,
make the difference.
I
Because
met Oriel at church, and that's one of the things that we know at the Bible study is the Bible is written by so many people, and it's in
yes.
so many different versions, and it's interpreted so many different ways, and it
Mm-hmm.
really depends on who's interpreting it if they want to use it to their advantage. And I think, yeah, I I love what you're saying in terms of like, having faith and pretty much knowing yourself and loving yourself,
Yeah, because
and
sometimes
knowing that
like
it's more for love than really
mm-hmm.
be punished.
Yeah, and that's make it like difficult for some because they grew up believing on what's written in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up going to the church, but I didn't really went to that point that, oh, I am abomination, because I didn't grow up like that. Like
Yeah.
I didn't grow up like that because the Catholic Church tolerate me as a gay person. And then I like the way I perceive Bible is like it's a history book. It's a
Right.
history book. It's a history life of Jesus, and it's like, and whatever the
The
verses
best
in,
book written after all.
yeah, the best, for me it's the best history book where you can guide yourself and look for look for some guidance and advice. And that's how I look at the book. That's how I look at the Bible. and
So
and that's what helped me somehow accept myself as a gay person. And my faith to God is a different, um it's a different thing, that I already have a faith to God regardless of what religion I have, you
One
know.
of the
that's so
few other.
beautiful that you basically came into terms about your sexuality and your faith in God. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any advice with our LGBTQ brothers and sisters in terms of, about those who wanna like come out, but just because they're having a hard time because they also have a strong faith? What can you advise them?
Mm, I think the only advice I can tell them is like, time will come. Time will come.
I believe
Each
in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, coming out is sacred. Coming out is holy, and you will do it on your own terms. You shouldn't force it. It like whatever your religion or your faith is telling you, eventually you will come out. You know
So does
that,
that mean you have to listen to your heart?
yeah, you have to listen to your heart. You have to listen to your body. Whatever your mind is telling you, don't listen to whatever other people will say. And you don't have to conform what the society will say. You don't have to conform what the religion will say.
So
Listen to,
basically, you have a good personal relationship with God, and
yeah,
are you saying like if so basically we should never be scared to like talk to him or go directly to him and ask him
mm-hmm,
what's in our hearts, because we'll never go wrong.
Okay.
yeah, because it's between you and your God. It's
That's
between
true.
you and your God, and regardless, whatever other people say, it's between you and your God, and only God will understand you.
Yeah, and in the
Oh,
end, God will judge,
Yes.
you,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
yeah, and you have your own relationship with God.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
I
love
love
the
you.
documentary for the Bible tells me so. I remember,
Mm-hmm.
Ali, you had the book before in the Philippines, like Letters from the Closet. There's a lot of resources that
Yeah,
we love.
That's
exactly.
very important.
And
Yes.
yeah, and now there's For They Know Not to Do. That's another
Oh yeah,
that's the sequel of For the Bible Tells Me So. And the story of my nephew, the story of my nephew, which is Don's nephew, is also there. The
nice.
life story of the struggle of their faith, and how my nephew coming out even though he's not
Since we're
here
talking
anymore.
about faith and our relationship with God, I just want to share what I've kind of like written in my like notebook. It says here, I believe this is Matthew chapter 9, verse 27 to 34. I just summarized what it's about. Become what you believe. And
Ooh.
I want you to know, Oriel, that I believe in you so much. And thank you for being an example of someone who's true to himself, but still has a very strong faith in the Lord. Because you are a true example of what love is, of what joy is, of what happiness is to our society. And you are a great role model to all of us.
And you are my role models too. You are a great
Aw.
example
Bottom.
of yes, you are the great example of
Real
believing
modeling.
who you wanted to be.
After all, we are a community. So we are all brothers and sisters, and we are all loved by the same God.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
our 15 minutes went over earlier, but I want you, Oriel, to share some 3 tips. Maybe something about beauty, something about health, and something about self-care. So we can
Self-care.
end this on a nice note.
Okay, for some beauty tips, um first, always moisturize your face and drink a lot of water.
Love that.
That's yeah, drink a lot of water. Um for health tips, I think you can eat whatever you want. But yeah, you can eat whatever. I'm I'm kind of like on that part that why you have to restrict yourself from eating, but you can eat whatever you want, but what do you call this?
In
um
moderation.
In
in
moderation.
moderation, and as much as possible, don't drink and smoke.
I love that.
Yes, don't drink and smoke. And what's that?
Self-care.
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 Self-care. um Love yourself.
It's so
I think,
sweet.
yeah,
We
that's
went
the best self-care. Love yourself and always remember that you are worth it.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
it. We
Yeah.
all ended, we went full circle, and it's all about love on this episode. Like, it's pride, it's love wins for the
Wins
relationship, it's loving God and God loving us back,
back.
and it's loving
God is
ourselves
love.
also.
Yes.
I love our episode today. And
Exactly.
thank you so much, Oriel, for being our first ever guest to our sisters like Angel
We
and
love you,
Ali.
Ariel.
Again,
Happy
I'm
Pride.
Angel,
And
and
thank
And
you,
I'm
thank you so
Ali.
much.
And
I'm
thank you, Ariel.
Thank you. I'm so flattered being here. I love you. I love you, my sisters.
love
Love
you.
you.
And we love
Thank
you
you so
all.
much.
We love you all.
Oh, next week we'll have
Bye.
Sarah, so tune in for next week also.
For Sarah
Yes.
Farlow.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Mabuhay, bye.